Hello, lovely to be here. Nice to see you all. Thank you very much for coming. Hello. So all of these are video platforms. And all social networks, in fact, these days are pretty much video platforms. And in the 12 years I've been a strategist and a video consultant and a producer, most of my time has been spent working on these platforms. But I think there is another video platform, and I think it is the most important video platform. And this is the video platform that I'd like to talk about today, which is the one that I think everybody should be investing in as the primary platform for all of their video content and video marketing. And this platform, of course, is your website. And the reason I think that your website is the best video platform of all of them is, firstly, you get the data. You can control how people are looking at things. You can control what you're measuring. You can ensure that you have all that control that you don't have with social media. And you don't get distractions, you don't get all of the sidebar and everything that can kind of move people away from your content onto other content. But it's also the most creative platform. It's the platform that allows you to implement multimedia experiences. It allows you to control whatever the particular player looks like, whatever interactivity you'd like. And it allows you to really think broader than just a single box of what you've got with a video. So I think your website is the most important platform, not only just generally web marketing, which I'm sure I'm preaching to the choir on here, but I think also for video itself. And I think that there's also a great way to think about using video on every single page of your website. So I think when we think about website video, we might think, okay, well, we're going to have a blog post that's got a video on it. Or we might think about a product page that we're including a video on. But I actually think that every single page on your website can, maybe not all of them should, but they can benefit from video. And to prove this point, I'm going to give you an example from a video that I worked on sort of about 6 or 7 years ago when I was in-house at Wistia, where I was for 5 years. And this is a video for the most boring page that you can find on every single website. Anyone want to guess what the most boring page you can find on every single website is? Terms and conditions. Exactly, terms and conditions. So this is the video on the Wistia's terms and conditions page. Just goes on like that for about 10 minutes, just all of the time. Very silly execution. But it proves the point that the barrier is essentially just thinking creatively about the experiences that we're building for users and how that translates into something that's a bit broader often than just a single block of text on a web page. And everything is getting easier with video. In some senses. It's also getting harder because it's getting more complicated. But it's getting easier from the standpoint of actually making a video and putting it online on your website. And the tools now that are available that allow you to create video, to create something like that I just showed you, can all now be done with consumer tools that require no level of understanding. Anyone who has worked in content marketing, written content, done some image design, built anything, can now use tools like these to go and create video. And the barrier is getting even lower every day. So all of you who are content marketers but are not working in video, really you now need to get ahead of the game there and start using resources to build video content as well. And you'll discover when you actually just dip your toe in with some of these tools how easy it is to do interesting creative stuff. So today I'm going to talk through the 5 types of videos that I think you should start with in terms of your progression for building video across your website. And we're going to go through each of them, and I'm going to talk through the particular approach that I think you need to take, the way in which you can measure this content, which pages they should live on, and also give you some examples. And so we're going to start with what I think is the obvious starting point for most businesses, B2B and B2C, when you're starting out with video content, and is this: case studies and testimonials. Everybody can benefit from case studies and testimonials. Everybody has them. If you've got customers, then you can get a case study and a testimonial. And if you haven't got customers, then you've probably got a bigger problem. So, what are these kind of videos? Well, generally speaking, they are normally 1 to 5 minutes in length, just a short conversation. And basically think about doing an interview, something as simple as something on Zoom. Just get on a call with your customers, ask them some questions, ask them what they value from your product, and then you can cut it up and turn it into a video. So it might look something like this. So just, we have one conversation on Zoom. Was this working? Conversation on Zoom, somebody else coming up. You can have a nice sort of chat, conversation, and then all you need to do is take these 2 streams that you've taken from Zoom, take them to one of those tools that I showed before, like Canva or Adobe Premiere Rush, and just cut them together. And you can build something really simple like this, very, very little investment. Anyone can do it. Add a little bit of branding or some color around the side, all that kind of thing. And suddenly you have an exciting case study video that is then going to work to increase your credibility, increase your authority, and help convert those customers. So case study videos should be, well, like, where are they going to live? What are we going to do with them? Well, we're typically going to let them live on things like landing pages and blog posts. So if you're writing blog posts that cover case studies, maybe you've got a bit of text with a quote, well, why don't you also just do the extra bit of work to make a video? Or if you're working on a marketing campaign that's with paid advertising or with email, and you're sending potentially warm leads to a campaign, a case study testimonial video can be a great way to augment and improve those pages as well. And the success metrics for these kind of videos, well, the core thing to think about is, did somebody who watched this video convert, or were they more likely to convert than somebody who went through a similar journey but didn't actually watch the video? So the best thing to kind of compare is the conversion rate between the video viewers and the non-video viewers through that same journey. So you can create a custom segment or a sort of custom audience or whatever, or custom report in GA4, and compare these two kind of audiences, and this will allow you to then understand, is this video really providing value? And if you're finding that the people who are watching that video are converting at a lower rate than the people who didn't, maybe you need to change the video, or maybe it's not working. But what you'll typically find is investing in this kind of content just helps improve those conversion funnels and helps people get over the line at that end point of the funnel, which is why it's a great place to start if you're just starting out the video, because it's very, very easy to make the case for investing more money in this stuff when you can show that it is going to deliver monetary returns and more revenue off the back of it. So that's step one. Case studies, testimonials. Number two, we're then going to go and invest in a slightly more complicated, but still very achievable and very easy to build form of video. And this is demos, tutorials. Again, this is something that applies for B2B and B2C. And demos and tutorials might be related to your product. Probably that's where you're going to start. You want to show people how to use the product more effectively. It might be related to things just in your industry. So maybe you're a manufacturer and you just want to show people how to use related products and all that kind of thing. So these kind of videos you'll be very familiar with. They're 10 a penny on YouTube, but also can be very, very beneficial on your website. So normally 3 to 10 minutes in length. And you might want to sort of anchor these videos in a talking head style. So shoot that core video where you're just looking at someone and they're talking through what to do. Spice that up with some screencasts or some product close-ups, and then maybe a few action shots as well, with the bulk of it being that talking head and the screencast, and you will have yourself a nice tutorial that you can use in all these manner places. So a good example is a course from Yoast. So Yoast Academy has a ton of these kind of videos, and they're great examples. So go and have a look at these and see how they've been put together. If you're looking to do similar, again, it's very simple, screencasts, a core narrator who's an expert in that particular topic, mix the screencast and the talking head, and you're golden. And it can also apply to B2C. So I'm going to show you another one for a different client I worked with last year. And this is a video for a sleep apnea machine. Not a very exciting product. Very boring, but nonetheless, you'll see why this is a really, really helpful thing in terms of demo tutorial.
Stands for continuous positive air pressure. Let's break that down a bit. Pressurizing air makes it blow more strongly indirectly. When pressurized air enters the breathing passages, it promotes stronger airflow and better circulation. Positive air pressure means air within a certain contained structure is at a higher pressure level than the air surrounding that structure. And with continuous positive air pressure,
so you get the idea. Nice and simple. There's a talking head. There's some product shots. There's a little bit of animation on the top. Very, very simple. Again, done with consumer level tools. Easy. Anyone can do this with just a little bit of time and consideration. And it looks really good. It looks really smart. So where are these videos going to live? They're going to live on places like blog posts. So if you're creating blog posts to serve those SEO informational queries, great. Do a tutorial, do a demo video with it. If you've got a help center for your product, then maybe you're also going to sort of build the videos there. So a little bit like Yoast Academy, you have this sort of big center that advises people how to use your product and educate them a bit more. Great, a wonderful place for that kind of content. The success metrics for this kind of content, really the core thing is, are people learning? Are they spending time? Are they actually engaging with the content? And the thing you should check there is the engagement rate, which is how long people watch before they go, we're off. Now, the engagement rate can be measured very simply with all of the different video hosting platforms that you have out there. So on the left is YouTube, and YouTube's particularly good for this because it gives you an average retention. So in the middle, you can see this kind of slightly grayer block, and that's going to show you what average videos of your type in that particular video length, what they tend to get, and how well you're performing with this particular video relative to that. So we can see here, this video is doing pretty well, just slightly above average, which is good. So this allows you to kind of see how these videos are doing and where that drop-off point is. You normally see a significant drop-off at the start, boom, which we call the head or the nose, and then again at the tail. So really the key thing is that middle bit, how flat is it, how much people are saying. So the one on the left is slightly better than the one on the right. So this is the key thing to keep in mind for these types of videos. If you're looking for sort of general benchmarks to use when trying to measure this stuff, because it's kind of weird, you just look at the data and go, I don't know, is that any good? Less than 40% retention, video probably sucks. This is for a sort of 3 to 10 minute video. Longer videos will have lower retention generally anyway. Average 40 to 60. That's the benchmark. Midpoint is about 50%. Anything above 60%, particularly on YouTube, extremely good. So these are very finger in the air benchmarks, but might be useful if you just want to get a flavor for how well your existing videos are performing. Okay, so we've started. We've done our case studies. We've got some of those going. We've now invested, we've spent a bit more time in the next couple of months doing demos and tutorials. So we've got that base level of some investment in video, and we get a bit more budget, and we think, can we take things up a notch? Can we do something a bit more creative? And in that case, I think you should then start to look to invest in product or feature videos. Now, no, a lot of companies, particularly in the B2B space, will start here, which is fine, but I think often it's better to start with the lower investment content because you get used to making the videos, you get better at sort of understanding your own style, your own substance, and then you can start to hit the ground running when you actually start to invest in these bigger pieces. So, product and feature videos. The length, 1 to 3 minutes. Keep them short, keep them quite succinct, but don't make them an ad. They're not the same as a 30-second video. And the point of these videos is, again, not a product demo. The point of a product or a feature video is explaining the value proposition of that particular product or feature. So there's a slight abstraction at play. It becomes a case of not just showing the product, because that doesn't really tell anyone anything. What you want to know is, a bit like sort of Jess was talking about this morning, that you need to, that you need to make sure that you're explaining that value proposition at all points. You need to explain that you're really telling Google and telling users why anyone should care. And a product page is a great instance of where you need to do that. And so you need to start to think about how you're going to put that together. So what you need to think about is something that has a scripted narration, really communicates that value proposition, has some creative cinematography. And if you're showing like software or a UI or something like that, you can abstract that out slightly and just show the functionality rather than the actual user interface. So the core thing is, again, showing what the product can do, the benefits rather than the features, product marketing, branding 101. So I'm going to show you an example from Yoast that we put together in the end of last year. You may not have seen this. This is for a product page that explains the value of the premium product over the free product. So if you're going to pay the extra money for Yoast, why should you do so? And it's a bit of fun, and hopefully you'll get a flavor of why this is a good execution for this kind of page type.
This is Flory. She runs an independent flower shop here in Wijchen in the Netherlands. She has just upgraded to Yoast SEO Premium, which gives her priority access to the best features in our SEO for WordPress plugin. And this is Tyler, who runs a competing shop in nearby Arnhem, and he hasn't gotten around to upgrading yet. Sunflower season is about to start, so both businesses need to update their websites with promotions. As Flory adds a new post about her upcoming special offer on sunflowers, she receives a list of key phrases to select, ordered by the number of people searching for each query. Yoast SEO Premium then lets her know where to include each of the selected phrases, to give the post the best chance to rank in Google search results. Flory can then set up tracking to see how the post is performing over time.
Okay, let you finish that.
Hi!
But the core thing with those videos are, again, the product is a character in there. The product is in the videos, but it's not really about the product. It's about what the product can do, and that's anchored in the characters we've got there. So there's a slight abstraction. And it's a bit of fun, and people can laugh, and they can kind of then get that brand sense as well as the value proposition. So these are going to live on your product pages, on your feature pages, those sort of second level brands.com/product/ whatever that's going to be. And that's the kind of where we're getting sort of a significant amount of money usually coming through in most cases. And the thing to measure here is the page level conversion rate. So what I mean by that is not just whether or not people who watch that video tended to convert more, but whether or not having a video on that page actually increased the conversion rate overall. And the reason for that is that often a lot of people landing on your product pages are coming through and they're kind of ready to convert anyway, and those people are not needing to watch the video because they're coming at it with the purpose of we're going to convert. So often the people who don't watch the video are more likely to convert than those that do. However, what that will do is allow the people who are maybe a bit tentative and not so sure at this particular point to watch that video and have that extra experience that may just tip them over into becoming more likely to convert in the future. So keep an eye on that page level conversion rate and whether or not adding a video there is going to increase that conversion rate or not. So you can do that just with GA4 or Universal Analytics for the few months we have left, and check the event count and then see the conversion rate on those particular pages. And if it's gone up, then you can then quantify the value that is to the business. You can show the return on investment and get more budget. So that is your product videos. Next, say we've done those, we've built a couple of product videos, that's really working. We then might think about, well, can we start to make video a central point of our web marketing? Can we really integrate video fundamentally in the entire website? And then often comes the question of, well, should we have a homepage video? Should we have a video on our homepage that really makes us stand out? And I don't mean, in this case, a homepage video like this, which I think is hellish, and I rail against the auto-playing homepage videos because it's just adding a huge, because it's just adding a payload to websites that they don't need, and it looks terrible, and it's awful user experience, and it makes everything slow, and you can't click anything, can't see anything, so psychologically, site speed-wise, core web vitals, everything is just hell. So luckily, Wibbit's, apologies to them, but they don't have this anymore, so I feel like I can have a go at their old homepage. No, the way to do this is to think about optionality. So a good homepage video, again, it's not an ad. It tends to be slightly longer. And the core function of a homepage video is broader, again, than the core value proposition of the product, which is what we have in those product videos. But it still needs to kind of indicate what the product is and does, again, to what Jess was saying this morning. So you need to think about a video that is simultaneously communicating the value of the product and also giving that brand touch point. Particularly as we're trying to build our brands, we're trying to build these identities, we need video as a tool to do that for us, and the homepage is a great place to do that. So I think a homepage video is a specific media type, a specific type of video that is becoming more and more prominent, and more businesses are investing in this, that is distinct from a product video and distinct from an ad that kind of fits more in this sort of high-end explainer model. So a homepage/explainer video. Now these, at their best, are usually 1 to 2 minutes in length, and they usually have a kind of core narrative or a creative idea and execution as part of them. So they'll tend to be location-based, scripted, have a narrator or a core character that's driving that narrative forward, and you're using creative cinematography and animation as well in them. So the example I'm going to show you for this is from SparkToro. So it's Rand Fishkin's company, and this is one I worked on about a year and a half ago. And I think you'll get the idea for this. I want you to look at it thinking, does this simultaneously communicate the brand value proposition and the product value proposition?
Howdy, friends. I'm Rand Fishkin, co-founder of SparkToro. I've spent my career taking the valuable data that big tech keeps secret and making it available to everyone. Before, if you wanted to uncover the people and publications influential to an online audience, you'd spend hundreds of hours and tens of thousands of dollars on market research surveys that cannot give you comprehensive answers. With SparkToro, accurate, uncomplicated data that solves these tough problems is available in seconds at a price small businesses and agencies can afford. Oh, Casey, where are the best places to find people interested in nutrition? Oh, and what do the demographics look like for that group? And which podcasts do they listen to? Oh, and what percentage listen to Plant Proof? SparkToro lets you discover key audience attributes, online behaviors, and the sources that influence them, so you can be both more creative and more targeted in your marketing, rather than just throwing money at Google and Facebook. Our mission is to make high-quality audience research available to everyone. Because we're not beholden to investors who only care about blitz-scaling growth at all costs. We invest in lifetime relationships with our customers. We personally respond to every support request in 24 hours or less.
It's true.
We prioritize features based on long-term value, not just short-term revenue.
It's true.
We even send reminders before your subscription renews so you can cancel or downgrade.
Also true.
While big tech companies are fortifying their walled gardens, We're building a big public park. We've welcomed tens of thousands of marketers so far, and there's room for everyone. Welcome to SparkToro.
So it's partially about the brand, it's partially about the product, and it kind of indicates if you're coming afresh. Okay, here's what we're all about and what we're getting. Cool, so homepage explainer video. Location, homepage obviously. The success metrics, really for this one, is the returning user rate. So not the bounce rate per se, but how many people who then come to the homepage, then come back in the future. So it's, can we really use our homepage as an anchor to get new people through? The average play rate for these, is worth mentioning, is low. So a homepage video, because the homepage is a doorway page that sends people through. A play rate on a blog post or something, you're probably looking 40–50%. A play rate on a homepage is normally 2–3%. So this is about capturing those audiences that may be coming through and just want that particular experience of give me the video, give me what you're all about in a couple of minutes. So what you want to do is just measure in GA4 or whatever the retention and the user retention that you're having over time. So lastly, you've spent all that money, you have managed to convince your business that you need to invest loads and loads of video and do more and more video on your website. What are you going to do? How are you going to go big? You're going to invest in an episodic show. And this sounds dramatic, and it is dramatic, but it need not be to start with. So an episodic show is going to be 20 to 60 minutes in length per episode. So we're talking big stuff. We're talking you are building your own TV type thing. And this is the idea as a repeatable format that is going to have its own sub-brand, have its own identity that allows your brand to go slightly beyond just who you are as a business towards becoming more of a media entity. And particularly in the B2B world, this is becoming more and more common. You're going to see more and more businesses investing in shows and podcasts and all that kind of thing to really expand their brand and build that media identity that supports their product and their service. So, example, again from Wistia that I used to work at, we did one called Brandwagon. 3, 2, 1, click.
From the creators of over 1,200 blog posts that aren't performing as well as they once were. And the team who's as tired of making quippy advertisements as they are of seeing them. From the company that literally designed thousands of paid media assets that were uninspiring to work on and barely moved the needle. And the marketers who know that the number of impressions does not equal the number of people impressed. Comes a brand new show with a brand new strategy in a brand new studio.
Introducing Brandwagon. It's like a talk show, but for marketers, hosted by Wistia's own CEO, Chris Savage. Join us as we learn from entrepreneurs and creative marketers who are investing in brand to grow their businesses.
The way we build our brands has to change. So hop on the Brandwagon and see where the future of marketing is headed.
So it's pretty simple. It's literally just an elevated podcast. That's all this is, really, conceptually. But it's exactly where you need to start going if you're going to start investing in video big. Now, the received wisdom is this needs to start with kind of YouTube, and that's true. But I think you can also build this on your website and have that core home base for this kind of content. So it's going to have its own subfolder. And the core metrics for this kind of stuff is time watched. Now, I think time watched is the most valued metric generally in search and marketing, in my opinion, because time watched, if people are choosing to watch your content, they are choosing to spend time with you. And them choosing to spend time with you is the thing that is going to make them remember your brand and like it more. It's not the number of times they see an ad coming at them. They see thousands of ads each day and forget most of them. It's them choosing to watch your stuff and spend time with you. That's what really matters for building a brand. I think that's the most important metric when you're investing in this higher level brand stuff. And emails captured as well. So what you can do with this kind of content is you can then add a subscription form and say, hey, if you'd like to get updates when we launch a new episode, give us your email. And again, you can then build people and push them into your conversion funnel. And this allows us to start thinking about building a media company a little bit more. So if we think about what Netflix does with YouTube and what they do with social media, they don't just shove all of their stuff on there. They don't just say, okay, well, all of the episodes of our TV show are now going to be available on Netflix. No. On YouTube. No, they use YouTube to do clips and trailers and all that kind of thing. I think that is exactly how we can then think about social media as a means to, yes, engage our audience, yes, find people there, but eventually, through an extended process, get people back to our website where we can control the experience, we can get the email, and we can do all that lovely stuff that's eventually going to lead them to be more likely to recommend us and buy our products. So this is essentially the audience development model, which we're very familiar to anyone who's worked in media. Isn't a Barry later. And the audience development model is really about, okay, well, how do we get more people to us? And really the way to do that is to think about social media as a way to reach people, but your website as a way to convert them. So it's about, we have this core video asset, we have this show or something that we're making, and we're then going to use clips, trailers, montages, all the kind of small things on social media to capture that interest and then drive them back to our website where the core best experience is, and that way we can have the best of both worlds. So the 5 videos that you're going to create are, you're going to start with your case studies and testimonials. You're then going to invest in your demos and tutorials. You then might think about doing some product and feature videos if you can get a bit more budget. Then you might go to that homepage explainer. And then lastly, when everything is going well and you have a huge video team, you're going to build the Episodic Show. And those are the 5 videos you can go to. And lastly, I'm just going to talk a bit about using video to increase search traffic. So we're all here, we all care about SEO, and video is an amazing way to increase search traffic, although, as you'll discover, there's been a few little changes recently. So how do you get videos indexed in search results? Well, this, basically. You just need to include schema data in your JSON LD, and Google will then read that, and they'll get it, and they'll go, okay, lovely, you've got video on your website, here is some results. Very, very simple, can be a faff to implement, so luckily, you can just use the Yoast Video SEO plugin, which I would recommend if you're not already doing. Thank you. Just go and buy that now, get it set up. It's great, works beautifully, nice and easy, and will then allow you to get results like this in the search results. Now, one of the things that you'll notice about these search results is the thumbnail. Now, this is the core big difference between a video result and a standard organic 10 blue links, everyone's happy, bog standard SEO result. So we need to then think about this new aspect of optimization, which is thumbnail optimization. Now, this is a big thing in the YouTube community, but I think for the video SEO world, the sort of Google optimization world, we don't think about this enough, but it's a very important part. In fact, for video, more important probably than title or description. So how do we make a good thumbnail? Well, I've worked with a bunch of companies to get a bunch of data, and I'll tell you now, I'm sort of halfway through analyzing this, but I can give you some indication. This is from 80 million different thumbnails and seeing which ones work. There is a trend for stuff that works quite well, and it's the following trends. The talking head. So something like this, where you've got a face, you've got a bit of text, tends to work quite well. So does the product close-up, and so does the action shot. But you'll notice with all 3 of these, there is a consistency. There is a lot of change in the colors. They're all easy to be seen a little bit further away. So you can see the text as well. There's a bit of a text overlay, and there's some sort of functionality that's showing you what's going on in the video. So you're getting a kind of indication of what you're going to get, and you're getting a bit of variety there. So you can use these as kind of rough guides for the thumbnails you need to create. But what you should do is just go and create loads, test them out, see which ones get the highest impression rate and click-through rate using Google Search Console. So thumbnail best practice in summary: bold, high contrast colors, a clear focal point, so a person or an object, a logo, so you can get that little brand impression as well, and large stylized text, so it has to be legible, that smallest size that you're going to see in Google search results, which is 116 by 24. So this is therefore the best possible thumbnail that you can have for Google search results, which is one I made earlier. Now everything about this we can see is good. There's bold, high contrast colors. There is a fantastic bit of talent that looks really good. There is some high quality text, and there is a brand impression there with the logo as well. And if you would like to measure the impact of video SEO generally, the best way to do this is with Google Search Console. And there are 2 kind of reports to do this. One is just filtering by search type. And if you click video, that's going to show you everything that is in that video tab, the video vertical search, anything that you get from people clicking there and finding video results. Additionally, you can refine by search appearance and click videos, and this is anything that appears in universal results in the video pack. So here's 2 ways to sort of see what's happening in terms of your video SEO performance. You can also use Google Search Console to see which videos have been indexed. So if you've managed to put videos on your website and you want to see, has Google found these? Are they likely to show them in search results? Are they going to possibly show them in search results? This will tell you whether or not they've read the video and whether or not they think it's worthy of results, i.e. it's been indexed. So here in this particular website, we see there's 193 errors, and then we can go, okay, well, what's going on there? Why was Google not indexing these videos? What you'll often find when you go a bit deeper is this kind of thing, where you see this report that says, Google could not determine the prominent video on the page. And this is the most common error that you'll find in Google Search Console for video indexation. And what that basically means is your video is too far below the fold, or it's using JavaScript to trigger playback, and we really need to just be able to do it ourselves without the additional kind of loading that's requiring a user to click something. So basically, this is the the core thing you're going to see, and you then need to go and say, well, okay, do we need to make the video bigger and higher up the page? And do we need to maybe remove any JavaScript that's preventing the video from being rendered properly? A couple of weeks ago, Google made a change, and they decided they were going to get rid of a specific type of video snippet. And it was one that looks like this on the right, where you would basically have a web page that was something like a product page or a blog post that was mixed media. And this would be used to say, well, there's a result, and it's got a video on it, but it's also text. And Google have decided that they're going to get rid of those, which I'm deeply disappointed about. But I can understand why, because I think they've set the expectation for users that if there's a video snippet, that means that the page is going to be ostensibly something like a YouTube result. And if this result was confusing people because they'd land on a product page and the video would be down the bottom of the page or in a tab or something, then they might think that they're being slightly misled into what's actually on the page. So this has now gone away, which is unfortunate. But what it means is that we have to then rethink how we're presenting our videos on our website. Because if we want to get video results, we have to create something that Google is going to give a proper video result to. And that basically means a video-only page. So something that looks and functions a little bit like a YouTube result. And that means basically building our own kind of video library. So the example that I gave at the end of the show there, you can use something like this to build a series of pages that all looks like this, so you have just basically an exclusive video on the page. And I think that's exactly what we should start to do for all our videos. So much like a media company, to have one side of the, like any videos that we have on our product pages, also make sure that we're creating a video gallery for this kind of stuff. So we have these pages that just are exclusively videos, and we have 2 different instances of the video, and not to think about canonicalizing those, but just giving Google the option of, okay, well, here's the video in situ, and then here's the video on its own. And therefore, Google can then rank the video on its own in the video pack, and it can also rank the page as just a standard result as well. So yeah, that's where we need to go. So lastly, you're probably thinking, well, the one thing you've not talked about in this talk, Phil, so far has been, of course, AI. And everyone in video is now talking about AI, and for good reason. Here's one that I created earlier. This was took about 30 seconds to turn Jono into various animated Wes Anderson characters. And this is it's remarkable what generative AI is now able to do from an AI standpoint. But I don't think that this is going to change actually as much as people are expecting. I think it's a wonderful creative tool, and I think it's going to reduce the barrier to people who are not video experts and haven't spent ages, learning Final Cut and Premiere and all that kind of stuff, being able to do good editing and use video more creatively. But ultimately, what is the point of video from a corporate standard, from a sort of commercial perspective for businesses? Why invest in video? And I was spending time a few weeks ago actually in Greece, and I went to the ancient Agora, and I was thinking a lot about this was sort of the birthplace of commerce. People used to come here and chat and discuss and go, I'll give you this many potatoes for this many chickens. And this is how commerce started. And how would you choose which vendor to go to? How would you choose who to trade with? It would basically be, who did you like? Who did you relate with well? And I think that fundamental human-to-human thing has not really changed in the several thousands of years since. And the point there is that really, what does video do at its core? Why is video a useful tool on a website? It's not because it looks flashy particularly. It's not because it's dynamic and slightly more interesting. It's because what video can do from a sort of corporate comms perspective is scale that core asset, which is humans, and human-to-human communication. So we're able to be more creative, and we're able to show fun, entertainment, and show emotion through video in a way that we often can't through text. I think that's what it does. And for that reason, that core functionality of a camera showing a human being behaving is still going to be that core thing that really is at the root of good video communication. So I think while AI is going to change a lot in terms of how we create stuff, I don't think it's going to change what we create, and what we create is still going to require cameras. So don't think that everything's going to change completely overnight there. So that's me. I hope that was a useful introduction to the kind of videos you should make for your website and how you can make sure that you're getting more traffic for them as well. Thank you.